The sun rises from the east, spreading light across the Bristol Channel. On Flatholm, you can experience all of its glory from its position in the middle of the channel. Its long-time twin, Steepholm, keeping it company over the millennia, both forged from the Carboniferous limestone 300 million years ago. Fossils ingrained in its rock from its earliest days, still home to ancient life forms. Man came along millions of years later and learnt to navigate the oceans. Flatholm, situated irresistibly close to civilization, became a place of refuge for saints, raiders and smugglers. Though beautiful, these are treacherous waters. It has the world's second highest tidal range, creating fierce currents and sudden appearances of jagged rocks. As shipping became more and more important, the need for safer passage was in high demand. The Bristol Channel, notorious for shipwrecks, meant that Flatholm needed a lighthouse. Originally built in 1737 and later modernised, its presence can be felt everywhere from its position on the highest point of the island. The next major constructions were built by the Victorians in 1865. Fearing that the French were planning an attack, they installed state-of-the-art defences that last to this day, but the French never came, and so the cannons were never to be used. 30 years later, Flatholm inadvertently became the scene of one of humanity's biggest technological advances. The Italian inventor Marconi, sending the first radio signals over water, kick-starting our modern world of connectivity. Yet, till this day, Flatholm still feels wild and remote. Farming carried on as it had done since its earliest inhabitants, until it was once again called into the defence of the British coastline throughout the Second World War. Over 300 soldiers were stationed here on what they would come to call Punishment Island. The task of building defences on a hard-to-access island was a daunting prospect. Considerable defences were built, but when war was over, these buildings retreated slowly back into the island as nature had once again took control. Many plants and fungi take refuge here, some unusual and rare to our shores, like the distinctive wild leek. The insects and bugs take refuge in the plants. The plants and the bugs provide food on which the birds live. Many species come to feast here, like the goldfinch and the wren. Some species stay all year, and some for just a fleeting visit. The greenfinch stays constantly alert. Dunnocks preen their feathers. cormorants fly past at speed. Oyster catchers surround the coast, waiting for the tide so they can live up to their name. Shell duck flap in a panic. Rest, and then flap again. With a wealth of prey around, the chain moves to a higher level as the predators swoop on the bountiful feast. A kestrel hovers, waiting to dive on its prey. It strikes with great speed and stealth. The buzzard, feared by all below them, effortlessly graces the sky, waiting for the right opportunity. The raven harasses the buzzard, but it's able to shake them off and continues to soar. As the harshness of winter closes, even these highly evolved killers are superseded by a more threatening army. The lesser blackback gulls return in force to lay claim once again to the island they have made their breeding ground. The buzzard is forced to give up its perch, now persistently pestered by the gulls. The cholera hospital is now the seagull's domain. The derelict building never used for the purpose of an isolation hospital, left to ruin. The gulls, only too happy to perch on its decaying roof and observe the landscape. This will be their island until summer's end. While nature continues to work under ancient evolved systems, there is a looming menace that has arrived at these shores and will threaten all that has come before. Plastic and waste, unceasing, all of modern humanity's industrial products and disposable comforts, arriving by their thousands every day, by sea and by bird. The modern sickness to own more and more new things we don't really need in our lives, and the casual discarding of unwanted waste. Flatholm is the smallest of habitats, a tiny version of what is happening to the whole planet. As the sun sets in all its glorious splendour over this small but significant island, uncertainty lies ahead for all its future days.